Hey, this is Nola here from the Health and Wellness Center. Here's the deal. This COVID thing is serious. I'm lonely and kind of bored and I miss all of you. But we have to do the right thing. We got to wash our paws. We got to do this thing called social distancing and stay inside as much as we can. Can't wait to see you. Bye.
Hi everybody, this is Sunshine. I'm really missing all my Queens friends. I hope you are safe. Please stay home, even though it's really hard. I can't wait till this is all over and you can come see me at the Health and Wellness Center. We could go for a really good walk. Bye.
Hi there, Nurse Diane here from Queen's University Student Health and Wellness Center, and welcome to Wise Words of Wellness. And I'm going to be talking to you today about how to take care of yourself when you have a cold or the flu. So let's get to it. There are millions of cases of the common cold in the United States every year. Typically, most adults get between 2 to 3 colds a year. Usually it's in the winter and spring. Most common cause is a virus called rhinovirus. And usually people feel better after about a week to 10 days. There is no vaccine for a common cold. There, of course, is a flu vaccine. The best way to prevent getting sick is still good hand hygiene, washing your hands. You also want to make sure that you avoid close contact with people who are sick. So, no hugging, shaking hands, kissing, that kind of stuff with people who are sick, and that'll help keep you well. Now, how does a cold and the flu spread? Like I said, close contact. And what happens is that you get the virus on your hands. So by touching contaminated surfaces and then touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, the virus gets into your body and you get sick. So we cannot stress good hand hygiene enough when it comes to keeping yourself healthy and well. So I'm going to go over right quick. Proper hand hygiene. You've been listening to this for months now, but we're going to go over it again here real quick. Main thing is to use warm water and soap. Avoid hot water. Hot water can irritate your skin. Running your hands under cold water and wiping them off on your pants is not going to get your hands clean. If you don't have access to warm water and soap, an alcohol-based hand sanitizer is perfectly acceptable. But you do want to, as soon as you do get to a sink with some soap, make sure that you wash your hands really well. Especially if you have visible soiled hands, you definitely need to get to wash your hands as soon as you can. You want to make sure that you rub your hands together really well for at least 20 seconds. Make sure you cover all the surfaces, front, back, in between your fingers, your cuticles, under your nails. It's that friction that loosens up the germs and then will help them rinse off when you rinse your hands. So simply touching soap to your skin does not clean your hands. So you gotta get all those germs loose and create that friction. Make sure that you rinse really well. If you get soap that's left on your skin, that can cause a lot of irritations, which can put you at risk for infection as well. Also make sure that you use a paper towel or a towel to turn off the sink, because you've got nice clean hands, and you don't want to touch anything that you just touched with your dirty hands. Once again, don't touch your face with dirty hands. So don't rub your eyes, touch your nose or mouth with hands that have not been washed. So now, if you get sick, how can you prevent spreading your cold or the flu to other people? Stay at home. Stay at home if you're sick. Avoid close contact with others. No hugging, kissing, shaking hands, like I said before. If you do have to cough or sneeze, turn away. Cough, sneeze in the bend of your arm. Or if you have a tissue, you can cough. Make sure you cover your nose and your mouth when you do that. And use some, hand sanitizer, or wash your hands right afterwards. Make sure that you're keeping surfaces that get touched directly often. That's how you can pick up germs on your hands. Now, I want to go through really quickly the differences between colds and the flu. Colds are caused by several different viruses out there. Flu is caused by influenza, the flu virus. I'm going to go through symptom by symptom as far as how you can kind of tell the difference between the cold and the flu. In general, colds are going to be, the symptoms are going to be much more mild, milder than the flu. However, people can still get complications from a run-of-the-mill cold, especially people that are in high-risk groups, immune compromised, people that have lung problems like asthmatics, people that have other underlying conditions, diabetes, heart problems. So just be aware of that. Now, typically onset, a cold is going to be much more gradual, much slower to progress. Flu, it's going to come on abruptly. It's going to hit you hard, and you're going to feel bad right off the bat. Fever with colds is pretty rare. It can happen, but it's not typical. And it's pretty standard with the flu that you're going to have a fever. You might not. It's not 100%, but typically people who have the flu do have a pretty significant fever, and it can last for 3 to 4 days. Aches with a cold, it might be a pretty slight, nothing too bad. You can typically with a cold still function. With the flu, aches are often severe. Same with chills and fatigue. Cold is pretty uncommon to have bad chills. But it's pretty standard with the flu. Sneezing is very common with a cold, to be real sneezy. So, with the flu, sometimes you have sneezing, sometimes not. Chest discomfort and cough can happen with cold and flu. With a cold, mild to moderate coughing, or chest congestion. With the flu, it's pretty severe. It's common, and it can get really, really severe. Stuffy nose and sore throat, very common with a cold. With the flu, sometimes you have it and sometimes you don't. So stuffy nose, sore throat, maybe you have it with the flu, maybe not. Headaches, not typical, pretty rare with a mild cold. With the flu, you're going to be pretty achy all over, including having bad headaches. So that kind of gives you a quick rundown of how to tell the difference between whether it's just a common cold or flu, influenza. Now, what do you do? There is no cure for the common cold or the flu. You can treat your symptoms with over-the-counter medications. Important to stay home if you're sick, especially if you've got the flu, running a fever, you're contagious, and just stay away from people if you're sick. Move away from people when you cough or sneeze, like I said before. Washing your hands, disinfecting those surfaces. With the flu, it is very, very, very important that you get lots of rest and hydration. A lot of times I will tell people to set an alarm clock during the day if you've got the flu, and because you're probably going to be sleeping a lot during the day. So, set an alarm clock so you wake up at least every hour or two and get up and get something to drink and stay hydrated to avoid those complications that can happen if you get dehydrated. If you're using over-the-counter medications, make sure you're reading those labels, that you know what you're taking, that you're not doubling up on medication. Some of the multi-symptom cold medicines contain, other medicines that you may take separately. So just, be aware of what you're taking and the doses that you're taking, and that you're not allergic to any of the components. So, just be aware of that. Antibiotics. Antibiotics are for bacterial infections, colds and flus, or viruses. Antibiotics will not help. They won't shorten the length of time you have colds or flu. They will not cure a cold or the flu. They can actually cause problems. You can start killing off normal bacteria that is helpful to the body, especially in your gut, and that can cause all kinds of problems. And you can develop resistance to them. So if you do get a bacterial infection down the road, it might not work well for you. So that can cause some pretty bad problems as well. When do you need to see the doctor if you've got a cold or the flu? Basically, bottom line is when your symptoms become unmanageable with over-the-counter medications, or if you have severe signs and symptoms, so trouble breathing, persistent pain, or pressure in your chest, dizziness, if you're not urinating, if you're so weak that you're losing your balance or falling, if you have a fever or a cough that improves and then all of a sudden it comes back, something's going on. Any worsening of any kind of underlying medical condition that you already have, like asthma or diabetes or heart problems, definitely get checked out for that. And if your symptoms last longer than 10 days, you need to come and see somebody for that. If you have any questions or concerns at all, if over-the-counter medications aren't helping your symptoms, definitely seek some care. Now, what medications to take for what symptoms? I'm going to go over this really, really quickly, very common medicines. I'm not endorsing any brand over another. I'm going to be mentioning some common brand names just so that you recognize what I'm talking about. For a cough, the most common cough suppressant that you may see is a medicine called dextromethorphan. The common name for that is Robitussin. There's an expectorant, which is helps loosen the phlegm and secretions in there. If you're coughing and you're having trouble getting everything up, that medicine is called guaifenesin. That's the primary medicine that's in plain Mucinex. So that's the Mucinex that comes in the blue box. Just be aware of that. There's combination medicines that contain both of those. Robitussin DM, Mucinex DM are the two most common ones, and a lot of the multi-symptom cold medications also contain both of those. So like I said, read your labels. Phenylephrine for stuffy nose, nasal congestion. That is the medicine that's in the Sudafed PE. That's the Sudafed that is on the shelf that you do not have to see the pharmacist to get. It is can be very drying to the nasal passages, and it can dry your mouth out. So just be aware of that. The other main nasal decongestant is Sudafed or pseudoephedrine. That's the medicine that has had some issues over the years with abuse and addiction. So they now keep it regulated by the pharmacist. You don't have to have a prescription for it, but you do need to request it from the pharmacist. You need to show your ID, and they will have you sign for it. And both of those are also common components of multi-symptom cold medication. So, if the cold medicine that you're wanting to take has the Sudafed in it, those medicines are also kept with the pharmacist, and you'll have to sign for it just because of that component of the Sudafed or pseudoephedrine in it. Nasal sprays, there's some really good ones out there. Saline nasal spray is mostly just salt water, and that helps to hydrate the tissues up in your nasal passages. It'll help thin out that mucus and facilitate drainage to help with that pressure. Afrin, the other name for that is called, and I'm going to try to say it correctly, oxymetazoline. And that helps by shrinking all the swollen tissue up in your nasal passages, helps open everything up so that it drains out. Definitely make sure you follow the instructions for that, because there is a limited amount of days that you can take that in a row. So, you got to stop after, between 3 and 5 days, depending on how often you're taking it, just because it can cause some what we call rebound swelling, where if you take it too long, it'll start having that opposite effect, and you'll start swelling inside. It's really, really uncomfortable. It's just a miserable feeling. So it works really well for, temporary short-term use. Flonase is a nasal steroid, and is really good for inflammation up in your nasal passages, and it is not on the banned substance list for athletes. So it is a steroid, but it's perfectly okay for athletes to take that. It's not on that list. And it's also a really good medication for allergies as well. If you get bad sinus allergies, that'll help with those symptoms. Now, as far as fever and aches and pains, the best medication out there that works the best for a fever is the acetaminophen or paracetamol, which is the medicine that's in Tylenol. That also helps with aches and pains, but it's really great for fever reduction. The NSAIDs or anti-inflammatory medications, ibuprofen, Motrin, Advil, naproxen, naproxen, Aleve. These will also help with the fever, but they're not the best. But they are great for helping with like pains, aches and pains. You can take, depending on the doses, you can take a dose of the acetaminophen or paracetamol, and then 3 hours later take a dose of like ibuprofen or one of the anti-inflammatories, and that may help a lot with your symptoms and help you feel better. But just be aware of the dosage and make sure that you're not taking too much too often. Read those labels. And it is important to know, especially when you're taking medicines that help with fever and aches and pains, you're still sick. Even if you feel better, you're still sick and you can still be contagious. You're considered fever-free once you have a normal temperature at least 24 hours after your last dose of any kind of medication that will reduce a fever. So, and a lot of the once again, a lot of the multi-symptom cold medications do contain acetaminophen or ibuprofen in them. So just be aware that you're off all the medication for at least 24 hours, and then check your temperature. And if you don't have a fever, then you're considered fever-free at that point. Now, last but not least, cough drops and lozenges. These are really great for a more immediate short-term relief of sore throats and coughs. Cough drops are typically eucalyptus-based. The lozenges for sore throat typically have some kind of numbing medication in them, like menthol or benzocaine. It is important to know that a lot of these cough drops and lozenges do have sugar in them, so you want to make sure you're not taking them every few minutes, because you might start having like some teeth problems or issues with having too much sugar. There are sugar-free options for those as well. So if you are diabetic or have issues with that, you've got some options there as well. So that's about it. I hope you got some good information here. Definitely let us know if you have any questions or would like any more information about this. Just give us a call here at Queen's Health and Wellness, and I hope that you stay safe and healthy and wash your hands. I miss everybody. Take care.
Hi, my name is Margot Leelatter. I'm the health promotion nurse at the Health and Wellness Clinic at Queen's University of Charlotte. The other day, my husband and I were out walking our dog Declan. We came across a chalk drawing on the sidewalk. Yes, that says, "Ooh, Corona," but you might also see the hopscotch. I looked around, made sure no one that I could tell was watching, and I hopped. At the end, I took a breath and realized that in the middle of chaos, you can smile. Our lives have been disrupted, but even in this, we can stay or start to be motivated to care for ourselves. It really felt good to smile. That same walk and subsequent walks after that, we saw families biking, dads throwing ball or playing basketball with their children. It was as if time had been slowed. We took a pause in the busyness and the distractions. It reminded me of a video I recently saw of two doctors singing John Lennon's Imagine. Listen.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell but us.
And he said, in life, there are so many things that divide us, but today, a global pandemic brings us all together as one. So, this has a lot to do with healthcare. It has a lot to do with self-care. It has everything to do with our well-being. I know it's automatic to think health means, what am I supposed to eat? I know you're going to tell me to walk or run or start working out. Daily, we choose to care for ourselves. Most people think they have this huge looming goal to lose a lot of weight, but really self-care can be broken down to this. Stay connected, choose healthy options, and look towards your purpose. So let's break it down. Stay connected. We have a connection that we need with a spirit, a higher power, God. And we have connection to our environment. Daily, it's so important to be still, be quiet, and notice what's always been there. And then stay connected to people. This is a picture of our health and wellness clinic, the tight-knit team. And yes, eat well, eat mindfully for balance, eat real food, decrease sugar. You know what to do. Drink more water. And move. Move your body. 10,000 steps, get some balance in, strength training. Most importantly, do something every day that you enjoy, that gets your heart rate up. And sleep 8 hours. Wake up at the same time, go to bed at the same time. Use sleep hygiene. I can tell you more about that at some point. And then finally, live on purpose. What you do, who you give to, who you serve, how you play. Get creative. What's your why? I know you're studying, learning, growing. Use this time to grow in your purpose and your vision. And whatever you do, just do it. Try it, fail at it, and be kind to yourself and do it again. Listen, I deleted a ton of these videos before this one. I don't want to have to do it again. So most importantly, all of this, it's all choices. Multiple little things that you can do every single day. All these choices are different. My recipe of choices isn't your recipe of choices. I can't tell you what to do. The tools are out there. I'll help you find the tools. You have to find the right choices for you and the right habits and changes that you need to do. And so, what trajectory are you going to take? One small choice can get you on a different path. All our lives have been disrupted, yes. Choose what you will do in all of this chaos. I choose to smile at the end of hopping through sidewalk chalk hopscotch. I choose to live well. I hope you join me in your own choices for well-being.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nancy Lestretto. I'm the Health and Wellness Office Manager. I sit at the front desk. So when you come into the Health and Wellness Center for either a medical appointment or your first counseling appointment, you and I are going to have a chance to meet. I consider myself probably one of the luckiest people on campus because I have the good fortune of working with lots of students each and every day, a wonderful team of people, all the nurses and counselors, and also 3 dogs. I forgot about Moses because he's over in the counseling office, but Nola and Sunshine and wonderful Moses, and all the students that come and walk them. We have a lot of fun at the Health and Wellness Center, and we do a lot of crazy things around there, but mostly we enjoy each other's company and looking out for each other and checking in on each other. So that's the reason for my message today, is just to say, I know it's been a month. It's been a tough month. I can't even begin to tell you how much I miss students and my coworkers and the dogs and routine and people and hugs and just seeing people in person and smiling and laughing. I know we all do, and that's really hard, but it's important that we keep on track and we stay home, and that we keep washing our hands and coughing in our sleeve and all those things that they're telling us to do, because that's what's going to make this virus go away. I've been listening to a lot of the pundits on television, and I like what James Corbin, he said, let's think of it as physical distancing, not social distancing. And so we can stay connected. Queens community is a very tight-knit group of people, and we laugh, health and wellness is a tight-knit team. But we can certainly experience physical distancing without experiencing social distancing. So stay in touch with one another and call your friends, email them, video chat. I actually am taking up reading storybooks to my grandchildren, which is something I never did. And I got all kinds of books, and that's turned out to be great fun. So find a way that you can stay connected with one another, but please stay at home and don't try to break the little rules, because when we all start breaking little rules, then it gets out of hand. And so this is probably one of the hardest challenges we'll ever have to face, but it's so, so important that we do it. I had to laugh. Stephen Colbert says, oh, staying at home, we got this. We've been practicing all along. This is what we know how to do, like binge watching TV till 3 in the morning, or ordering Grubhub from across the street, canceling plans just so we can stay home. So see, we've been practicing to do this, and we can continue to do it. We really need to stay at home. That's really important, and do everything you can to protect one another. I wanted to share a little something with you that I read this week that I just think is so fun. And it's talking about celebrating the small moments and finding ways that you can do that. And it's from Mary Davis, and it says, celebrate small moments and find joy in small things. The great news for humanity is that seeing as we are all threads in the same tapestry of oneness, my joy is also your joy, and your joy is mine. We celebrate life's small moments and lift the energy of everything around us in a vibrational fireworks show. And that's what we're going to do when we can all get back on campus safely. We are going to have a grand celebration of seeing one another and being together and getting back to what we know how to do best, and that's learning and serving and teaching. So take good care. Please know how very much you are missed, but also how very much you're cared about. So stay home, and we will all get together very soon. Thanks.